What's going on, Niner fam? It is Peter Lucas, and I know I'm missing a few people with me tonight. Beto unfortunately couldn't go tonight. Brandon had something else going on, so you're stuck with me. You are stuck with me, but we got a lot to talk about. And 49ers, final 53, a lot of cuts, a lot of surprises in this final roster cut down. But we're gonna get into all of it. But before we do that, we gotta hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like to know.
are you ready for start time?
And once again, it is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic podcast, and hopefully my boy Beto gets better. Shout out to Niner sickness, and hopefully Brandon gets whatever he needs to get. But so 49er 53 man cut down today, like final 53 roster. A lot of surprises, and we're gonna go down and talk to pause, and we're gonna talk about the different the most of the guys that got waived and the guys that got cut, what it means for the 49ers, and what it means, like what we could be looking at in the season, especially week one. But yeah, a lot to talk about. I appreciate everybody coming through, and yeah, we already got 11 in, but appreciate you guys coming up. Make sure that you get a video like, make sure that you give it a subscribe, make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notification for when I go live. And man, it was a long week last week. I wasn't even able to get on after our show. I haven't seen you guys since last Tuesday, but yeah, we had a preseason game. I haven't talked to you guys since the preseason game and the against the Raiders, and some good, some bad. But it was preseason, so there was, once again, all the starters didn't play. Not necessarily, couldn't really take too much from it. The Brock made some plays, didn't make some others. But if he was going to try stuff out, this was the time to try it. And yeah, it's I will say this about the game. I was really kind of encouraged by how the defense, like for the most part, the beginning of the game, like how the defense played. I was really encouraged by that. Malik Collins had a couple of really good plays going into that. I thought some of the guys that were cut today actually had some good plays in that game as well. But without further ado, we're gonna get into these cut downs, and I know that's what you guys came for. So let's get into it. But first, what's going on to my guy Justin? He is a Jet fan, and he is absolutely counting down to this to the game, the first game, 49ers week 1 versus the Jets. And the Jets have a very formidable defense, and I'm gonna do a whole show breaking down like the matchup. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, Justin. Don in the house, appreciate you coming through, fam. Like, I'm sorry that it's just me today, but hey, like you could be anywhere, but you're here with me, so I appreciate you guys. And but let me share my screen for the first. So let's start off with the people that were straight up released. And so the first people that were straight up released. So you had Ben Barch, which kind of, I'll be honest, kind of, that was one of my surprises. I was surprised that they got rid of some of that depth. But when you think about who they have on the roster, who they did keep on the roster, as far as like they needed a backup center, so I was kind of surprised. But they're going to keep Feliciano on the roster, so It doesn't surprise you too much. He's going to be the backup center. Ben Barch really is just depth, and he's one of those guys that I could see coming back as a vet practice squad guy. Robbie Chosen, I mean, I think we all knew that he was signed in to be a camp body, and he didn't really show anything in that game. There was definitely no blocking to be had from him. Also, like, I just didn't see much. Like, and I don't think the Niners saw any reason to keep him either. Like, you had Chris Hubbard, which I think was a surprise for a lot of people, considering Trent Williams is still not in house and still holding out. But that you could take that as a good omen for us conspiracy theorists out there. You could take it as a good omen and say, hey, maybe they're going to get Trent in the building sooner than later, which I think is going to happen anyway. But we're all waiting. We don't have long till week 1, so it's going to be a very stressful few days until these guys get re-signed. But I want to say what's up to my guy Jimmy. What's up, brother? Appreciate you coming through. My guy Brian, resident Cowboy fan. Appreciate you, man, as always. And then, but another surprise release, straight out release, was T.Y. McGill. And he actually impressed throughout the preseason. I thought he did really well. He played really well. Was pretty stout against, especially against the pass. I think he had a strip sack, and he made plays in this preseason. But I think the 49ers already had an idea of who they wanted on that, especially when you consider he's a defensive tackle. I thought that's where the 49ers had the most depth on that defensive line. They were a little thin at the defensive end spot, but the defensive tackle was not one of them. So T.Y. McGill it was surprising for me just because I felt he played well. But when you look at who they kept, not so surprising. But then you've got Brandon Parker, not surprising at all. Let's just be honest, he stinks. He is not good at all. And he doesn't fit in this system, at least. We'll say that. Tight end Eric Saubert released. Now, Saubert, to me, was the most impressive of all the tight ends that we saw, other than George Kittle. And an even more surprising development is the 49ers right now only have 2 tight ends on the roster. How that happens, it tells me that they're not done, that they kept some of these guys that made the team today are not going to be on the team in a few days. So I think the 49ers are waiting. They're going to wait until some of these other guys get released and see what they've got, and then they're going to bring back some of the guys. Like, I expect Braden Willis to be brought back. I expect a couple of people to be brought back. Trent Taylor, is there a real reason to bring him back? I don't know. I personally would not. I don't think he brings anything to the team. I guess you could say as a backup, you could put him on the practice squad to be a backup return man. But, I mean, one of the receivers, Ronnie Bell, made the roster. So he's your backup kick returner by default. And because I really think Cowing impressed as a returner for both kick returning, punt returning. So he looks smooth doing it as well. He just looks natural. Logan Thomas, they just re-signed him. So to a 1-year deal. That was kind of surprising to me that they decided to cut him, but that tells me that they're probably just going to keep him around and in case of emergency, break the glass, you bring him in. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did bring him back. I think that there's they have a few spots on the roster groups where there's entirely too many guys. They kept way too many linebackers. They kept way too many. They kept an extra receiver. I think that we're going to see some other moves made in the next coming days. But Dina Harvey in the house. Appreciate you coming through, fam. Hello to you as well. It is. And then you got Tracy Walker out of the safety, who that was kind of a surprising cut because I think everybody expected them to. I think they expected them to keep him like for a special teams piece, but I wasn't terribly impressed by him, so I don't have a problem with this one at all. Nick Williams on the defensive line didn't really show us much in the preseason, and he had kind of an uneventful camp, so that was not surprising. But cornerback Rocky Sin. Now, you have some content creators and some people out there that think that this guy uh, is not good at all. I disagree. I think that he has looked really decent really solid in this preseason. I think he's a solid veteran piece to have. I fully expect them to bring this guy back as a veteran on the veteran practice squad. Um, I think he's a valuable depth piece. Now, but this goes to show you how deep this 49ers cornerback room actually is. And we've been talking about it all offseason that this cornerback room, this is the deepest I've ever seen it. And they've got talent. And it's going to be can they stay healthy and can you keep the depth? Because with the 49ers, it's always a question of can you stay healthy? And like they stayed healthy pretty much all season last season. So you're really kind of looking at it as, oh, man, can they do it for another season? Because 49ers are always up there as one of the top teams with injuries. Not that we're expecting it, not that we want that, but at the same time, you gotta know your history and so you're not doomed to repeat it. And we had a lot of soft tissue injuries in camp, and as well as we didn't even get to do our group practice, our joint practice, because there was too many injuries. So I think it's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be a challenge to keep all these guys healthy. Now they could have been just keeping a lot of the just precautionary measures and keeping these guys from injuring themselves further. I think that Shanny has learned a lot from his prior first few years, where even if guys were hurt, he would still have them out there. Maybe not in the preseason and into the season, but I think even that he's kind of learned from, and you see him take more of the marathon viewpoint. Okay. Him to take more of the marathon viewpoint of the season is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So every week is not a must win all the time. And as much as us fans would like to think that, and we get discouraged after every loss, sometimes you got to take the L so you can have the guy for later in the season. So, okay. Apparently, Brandon does not have the link. So hold on, guys. Let me send him the link. And where are they? Oh, there. Why is this? Okay, let me see if I can move that. There we go. All right, Brandon, it's in there. So just let me know when you're coming in. And apparently, Brandon is going to join us. But okay, so that's all the guys that were outright released. And we do got to talk about, before we get to who was waived, there was two surprises as far as Hufanga being kept on the active roster, not being put on the pup, but they did mention that they are going to kind of ease him in. But they think he's going to be ready sooner than later. So whether that means he's going to be on week 1, I don't know. but maybe week 2 or week 3 he might be available. So that's a huge lift for the 49ers. Well, we hope it's a huge lift for the 49ers. We haven't seen anything since the injury. So, but it makes me incredibly excited. Incredibly excited. I think he's here. Hold up. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
I say hi to Brandon. uh,
Hey, friends.
so the Throwback in the house too. I didn't even see Throwback was in here. What's going on, Throwback? Appreciate you coming through, fam. But we're just finishing up on the guys that were outright released. The I just mentioned Hafanga being kept on the active roster. What do you think of that move, and what week do you think he'll be back?
Well, they're saying that he's supposed to be ready by week 1, but if not, I'll say week 2 to be honest. But I saw that coming from a mile away that Fungus was going to be active. Um, so yeah, that's my thought process on that one. I was going to ask you, was there any players that were cut that surprised you today?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about. I was surprised by the Chris Hubbard cut just because he had looked pretty solid
Mm-hmm.
and in preseason, and for the simple fact that Trent Williams is not in the roster right now. So
Yeah,
uh, I thought that was, but that to me that just sends a message saying that they expect Trent Williams to be here. So
I think that
how do you feel
situation.
about it?
Uh, I was kind of shocked too, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put him on the practice squad, um, or even re-sign him back. But I think Trent Williams' ordeal is going to be done by the end of the week. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
because this team is not the same without Trent as well. So I know for damn sure that John is trying his damn nearest to get that situated, and BA's contract as well. So yeah, we'll
yeah,
see.
I think that BA's contract is.
Hey Don.
I'm so I'm more concentrated on Trent Williams contract than BA right now. like,
Well, I think Trent's gonna get done first. To be honest.
yeah, I agree. I agree, and but I just BA is kind of not that I don't think BA is important. He's absolutely important, but he's not Trent Williams. I think
Yeah.
Trent Williams makes this whole offense
Mm-hmm.
go, and from run blocking to uh, protecting Purdy's blind side and not having Jalen Moore out there.
Right.
So yeah, but we were talking about too. Eric Saubert was another surprise cut. Was another surprise release for me. They just signed Logan Thomas a couple of days ago to a 1-year deal, and then they just
Yeah.
outright released him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another surprise for me. Did you have any surprises?
Um. Not. Not really. So we had to, like, me and the boys had a show yesterday, and I kind of called the Danny Gray being released. I called. Um. Actually, you know what? I do actually have one that actually surprised me. Um. Elijah Mitchell being out for the year.
Yeah, that was the next thing we were about to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty shocking. Um, I can't say it's surprising. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy just cannot
So
stay. He just can't seem to
yeah,
stay healthy.
the only thing that was surprising is them putting him on the injury reserved, basically saying that he's out for the year. I knew that he was injured. I didn't think that he would be out the whole year though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like the only thing that was surprising to me was it being basically the whole season.
Yeah,
So
it was just weird that they chose to keep him out. I mean, that they kept him out all year. It wasn't just like they tried to get. They gave him like 6 games or some, put him on an IR, like letting him come back later.
mhm.
Because at first I thought to myself, and I was completely confused on the rule, but I thought that he didn't accrue a season if he stayed on IR before the season started. But that is not the case. So
Mm-mm.
this may be the last time that we see Elijah Mitchell on the roster, and that, which is kind of a sad thing that he's not even going to get to play. But I think the reason why they did it is I looked into it a little bit more, and they get to pay him like at a discounted rate, but plus they get to it doesn't hit the cap as bad if they put him on IR. So they get some room on the cap from it as well. So it was kind of just a shrewd move on their part, and maybe they just didn't. They weren't willing to because they kept Patrick Taylor, and
No, they
they've
released
got
him.
so many running backs. No, I thought they kept Patrick Taylor.
No, they released Taylor. He's not there.
Let's see. Let me
The
see.
one the one that I also was surprised about too is Ronnie Bell. I thought they were gonna cut him. To be honest with you.
Let me see. I gotta look at that because I remember what's his name was talking about it earlier. Brad Graham was talking about it. Yeah, he's still there.
Uh-uh.
They got they kept him, Christian McCaffrey, CMC, Jordan Mason, and Garindo.
Let me see. Hold on.
Which
Hold on. I posted it today because when I was watching Mike's show this earlier today after it was announced, and it said that they cut him. Hey, you. What are you doing? Oh yeah, I guess they did. Interesting.
yeah, so we didn't even really get to. He only had 4 carries in the preseason. But I guess they saw enough of him in practice he's just a kind of a bigger back. They did, from what I understand, they did like him on special teams. So that's how you make teams, is special teams,
Yeah.
especially if you're not going to play. So
Yeah.
I think Isaac Garindo showed us enough in the Raiders game to where I think his, how would you put it? I think people were kind of down on him. They thought Cody Schrader had better vision and like all that kind of stuff. But I saw explosiveness, and I saw decisiveness from his running style, which maybe
Mhm.
he's developing just being in camp with the 49ers. But I liked what I saw. How did you feel about Garindo?
Dude, I loved what I saw. If Elijah didn't go on to the IR and out for the season, I honestly think he would have lost his job completely. To be honest,
That could be
I
why
think
they felt comfortable doing it.
maybe, yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking too. Because Grando showed off in that Raider game, so and I think he's also going to be the kick returner as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they might have done it. And then I don't know if you've seen Papa J's comment about Trent and BA, but just to touch on that real quick, I think Trent is
Bebop.
more important to keep right now than BA is, to be honest.
Yeah. Trent being, I mean, for the short term,
Yes.
obviously Trent is the most important because we don't have anything to back him up.
Nope, we
I mean,
don't.
the reality of the
We
situation
saw
is
that in the
it's either
preseason.
him. Yeah, I mean it's either him or Jalen Moore, and if Jalen Moore is over there, that cuts what they can do on this offense in like half. They're going to struggle if they don't have him. We saw it last year.
Mm-hmm.
People looked at it as though Debo Samuel was the reason, but Trent Williams was out for the same amount of games Debo was, and I really think he was the bigger miss of the two because the 49ers couldn't run the ball, they couldn't pass block, and they couldn't do anything right. So
I agree.
yeah,
I think we,
that would be a
I think
rough
we,
loss.
I think those 3 losses from last season. I think we struggled more
Oh, you
because
froze.
Trent wasn't there.
Oh, what did you
You
say?
there?
Because I think you
Can you hear
froze.
me?
Yeah, yeah, you
Oh,
froze
I said
for me at
those
least.
3. Can you hear me still though?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I just said that those 3 losses from last season, when Debo and Trent were out, I think it was more because of Trent than it was Debo, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Some of the guys that were waived, Isaac Alarcon was one of those. Was one of the overseas that program that they have for where he's basically gets a free roster spot, and so that wasn't a surprise that he got released, but or waived. But Evan
Yeah.
Anderson was a surprise waiving for me because I thought he looked good in the preseason,
I think
especially
we just
against the
have
run.
too many.
Yeah, it could be. Alex Barrett was another surprise one from the defensive end because I thought that they were a little thin at defensive end, and Alex Barrett was one of the few that actually impressed at the defensive end spot.
Yeah. Well, don't be surprised if some of these guys do actually come back though. You
Oh,
know what I
I
mean?
fully expect Alex Barrett to be back on the practice squad. I fully expect
Yeah.
Evan Anderson the same thing. But this is the thing, and this is what happens when you have a team like the 49ers where they have a really good roster and people are getting crazy scared about the depth on this team. But the reality is you can't look at depth because you can't look at depth as a reason to keep some of these guys that don't fit because you're just gonna end up with a bunch of pieces that obviously just don't fit. I don't know that I don't know that when and the other reason is that the other teams are ready to cherry pick. Like, so some of these guys are not gonna make it past waivers. I would be surprised
Correct.
if Alex Barrett made it past waivers. Like, what did you think about the Jalen Graham getting waived over Tatum Bethune made it?
I know. I honestly thought Graham and Bethune wasn't gonna make it. To be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Graham was gonna make it just because I think that I always thought that they liked him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but but I didn't think that I thought Tatum Bethune would be a prime practice squad guy. Like, but
Yeah.
he played well. He played well in the preseason, like really good against the run. I think he's got some work to do as far as like getting better at pass coverage. But we used to have another guy that was great against the run,
Yep.
and we thought wasn't the greatest again in pass coverage in God. And now I mentioned him and I can't remember his name. Uh, he's over there. He's playing for D'Amico now.
Kinlaw.
No, the linebacker.
Not not Kinlaw.
He came in and like did the breakdown with the linebackers in the Super Bowl and everything. And he was on somebody else's team. He was on the Titans. And I can't. Oh, man, I
Al
am just
State.
blanking on his name right now. Huh?
Shire
Al Shire. Al Shire. Yeah, he was another guy that was really good against the run, and he was kind of iffy in
was
coverage. But then
he
he
was,
just developed. He just
and
developed, and
then
he got better.
and then Greenlaw as well. And
Yeah, Greenlaw was just a firecracker. He was all over the place when he first got
he
to the
was.
49ers.
And I mean, you noticed that in the Super Bowl as well before he got hurt. Like he was covering Kelsey like crazy, right? And I mean, you're gonna see the difference for sure going into the season without Greenlaw out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jarrett Kingston getting waived, I thought that was surprising because he played well,
Were
and
you?
he could definitely get poached.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an iffy one. Danny Gray, not surprising at all.
Neither,
Uh,
neither, neither from me either.
and
Was
but
was
what did you
Latu
think about the tight ends? Because I know you were about
was
to mention
Latu?
it.
Yep. Was Latu surprising for you or
It
no?
wasn't surprising at all because I've been calling it the whole time.
Yeah,
Like
we
he's
said that
just
he's
terrible. He's not good.
yeah. We were saying that too on yesterday's show that he was going to probably get cut. I think they only have two tight ends though on the
Yeah,
roster.
they only kept two tight ends, which we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about before you came on. But they kept some of the other roster groups. They kept more than they normally would, which makes me think that they wanted to keep some of these guys on the roster and let these other teams cherry pick, and then they'll release them later after teams have already picked over everybody, and they'll release them later so that they can bring certain guys back. Uh, but yeah, Jalen Mahoney was another guy, but the Latu, like I felt like his days were numbered.
Same.
Sauber really kind of surprised me. But yeah, Latu, and the fact that they only kept Tongues and Tungus and Kittle. I mean, Tungus looked good. I'm not gonna argue there, but he was always at the end of the games.
Exactly.
And so that I just assumed it was going to be Kittle, Saubert, and Tungus, and then they might keep. And then I assumed that they were going to somehow keep Braden Willis on the team. But surprisingly enough, he got cut. They must have seen. Well, and that's not to say that they won't bring him back on the practice squad, but they must have seen what the rest of us were seeing is that he's got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's he has got a he is not to me, he is not a fit for the 49ers. The blocking just is not there. They tried him out at fullback. It didn't look good. I don't know what the plan is with him. And I think they got to a point where they didn't know what the plan is either. And they just kind of let him go. But it wouldn't surprise me if they brought him back on the practice squad because they do really like the kid. But yeah. But Latu, I think that they've just been waiting to get rid of him. He's just
Yeah, I think it was time.
yeah, he's got the measurables, but it's just I don't know. It just seems like he's too in his head, in his own head. He's just running through the motions, going through the motions when he's out there, and so yeah, that wasn't surprising at all. But Chase Lucas was kind of a surprise because he was more of a special teams guy. So that surprised me that they let him go. Jalen Mahoney, I wasn't surprised that they let him go, but I was
Me
kind of
neither.
hoping he stuck around. I was
He
kind of
might
hoping he
get
stuck
signed on the
around.
practice squad as well, though.
Yeah, because he's another youngin.
Yeah,
Tay Martin can't keep a roster spot. They could keep 8 wide receivers and they'd probably still release Tay Martin.
yeah,
like,
yeah. I
uh,
agree. Mordecai is going to be
yep.
on the practice squad.
Yeah, no, guaranteed. If he doesn't get poached, because I to me he showed some talent.
Yeah.
He definitely showed some talent to me, and so hopefully he doesn't get poached. But yeah, I would think that they would want him back on the practice squad. Drake Nugent, I know that they're hoping he makes it back to the practice squad because he was solid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a solid backup, is what
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a starter,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a solid backup.
Correct.
And Mason Pline, same thing, developmental guy. We all knew that he wasn't going to make the roster. that they're probably going to try and bring him back on the practice squad. Cody Schrader, same thing. I know a lot of people were hoping that he made the 53-man roster. It's
I
a
wasn't.
great feel-good story.
I wasn't. I didn't think he did that great, to be honest, in the preseason.
Oh, he didn't. But people
Yeah.
were still making excuses. I heard a lot of people making excuses saying that the line wasn't opening any holes for him, which they weren't. But there were other guys that had the same issues, and they were getting yards. Like even Patrick Taylor averaged 3 something off of 4 carries, averaged over 3 yards a carry. Cody Schrader just really kind of just struggled. He just doesn't have the athleticism. He doesn't have the juice, in my opinion.
I thought they were gonna keep Willis on the team.
I think everybody thought that they were going to keep Braden Willis because everybody looked at him as the juice heir apparent, but it didn't look good. They put him at fullback, and granted, it was the first time he had ever been back there, but I mean, it looked like he was scared to block.
Yeah,
like he was real tentative. I just don't think he knew where he was supposed to be. And even when he was playing tight end, it seemed like he was really indecisive, like he was trying to learn too much at once.
Correct.
And that's just not going to work. You can't not be physical and not be in the right spot. You got to be good at something. And he just wasn't. He wasn't consistently good at anything, in my opinion. But I wish the best for the kid. I hope that I know some team is going to take a flyer on him somewhere. But Sam Womack, were you surprised he got waived?
So actually, Womack is actually the one I said that he was going to get cut. Especially after that shit he pulled in the last preseason game against the Raiders, where he basically just kind of gave up on the play. When what's his face ran it in for the touchdown. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, now I can. You glitched out there for a minute.
I know. I just got the notification. Even though, so Dion was saying yesterday on our show that he thought that the ball was incomplete, and that's why he stopped. But even if it was, you still continue and finish through that fucking play. You don't
play
stop.
Through the whistle.
Right, exactly.
You play through
wait
the
till the whistle. Wait till the ref blows the whistle. You don't just stop out of nowhere. So after that, I was like, yeah, he's gone. he hasn't been the same like how he first started last year. So that was my take on it. I was like, oh, I called it as soon as they said it. But what about you?
So I was hoping he didn't get cut because I saw a lot of talent in the preseason from him, just like I see every year from him. It seems like the talent is there.
Mm-hmm.
I think on that one play that you're talking about, I think it was just an amazing catch by the receiver. And yeah, he should have played through the whistle. I get it.
That should have been a pick, dude.
Yeah, I get it. But he didn't. He had more good plays than he had bad plays, and we're talking about him being a backup. I mean,
I know.
I would take him over Ambry, and they kept Ambry.
I'm surprised they kept him, dude. I thought he was gone too.
Ambry was the one for me that had to go.
Yeah,
he's terrible. I mean, there's no way around it. I made excuses for Ambry for
we've
years.
given him so many chances, man,
and he just can't get it, and he regresses. It seems like every year. So, yeah, I thought that Womack was. I think for sure somebody's going to pick him up because he's put enough talent on tape, to warrant somebody bringing him in. And I think that they're going to try him out at the slot. I think the 49ers, he doesn't fit as a 49er slot because the 49ers expect their slot to almost be a third linebacker. And that's every team isn't like that. If they just use him on passing downs, I thought he could be valuable. like because he does have good short area quickness. He is very physical with the receivers. He's just not physical. He's not big enough to get in there and tackle running backs and like all that other stuff and get in the run fits. But I was kind of I'm gonna miss Womack. I think Womack had talent. I just think he couldn't realize it. I think it was just maybe a bad fit with him with the Niners. What did you think of Darrell Luter? Because a lot of people thought that Darrell Luter was on the borderline of getting cut as well. What did you think of Darrell Luter and his performance this preseason?
I mean, he did all right. I think that was another one that we thought that he was actually going to get cut as well. But he's still here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just for a cautionary reason. I don't know. I thought he did okay during the preseason, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. He was always there in position, but
Yeah,
he
didn't
he
stand
looked
out to me.
lost. He looked
He didn't,
lost.
yeah, he didn't stand out to me
And
in preseason.
yeah, teams were targeting him at
Yes,
some points.
yes,
And honestly, I think that that pick that he had in the Raider game, I think that saved his job.
I think so too. I really do.
Um, because I think that was something that him just being aggressive kind of show in that one moment was enough for the 49ers to be like, well, he's in position. If he can just get aggressive at some point, and once he gets some confidence about himself, then he could maybe be something. But yeah, um, I thought that was an interesting dynamic. So when we talk about the wide receiver room, the so we've
I don't know why I
got
keep lagging.
well, we're presuming. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you
Okay.
now. Were you
Okay.
talking?
No. It just keeps lagging out on my end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the wide receiver room, were you surprised that Ronnie Bell made
Yes.
it?
Yes. I was. I thought he was going to.
Yeah,
I think all of us thought he was going to get cut today.
yeah. I was shocked that they kept 7 wide receivers.
I think they did that on purpose, just in
Yeah, I
case they don't
think.
have Ayuk.
Yeah, that's that. That see that kind of stuff is more telling than is how they're moving with the 53-man roster. I agree with you. I think that is kind of they wanted to make sure that they had the guys on the team that would be there in case IU wasn't. And just like when we were talking earlier about Trent Williams, them not carrying an extra offensive lineman to cover Trent tells me that they're going to give Trent whatever he wants.
Exactly my point. Yep.
Like so, I think Trent's going to be here. I can't say the same for Brandon Ayuk. I just for whatever reason they have drawn a line in the sand about Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk is.
And
I feel like Ayuk's just being a pain in the ass at this point
I
because
don't know because
the last
I'm not in the room.
the last time
So,
we heard was there was issues with his 4th year
yeah.
with his guaranteed money. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so that's on the agent and Brandon.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Per se. I was listening to First Take this morning. I know some people don't care for First Take. Some people actually do listen to it. I think it was Shannon Sharp that said it. He doesn't think Brandon Ayuk is worth $30 million. He thinks he's between 25 to 28.
Well, of course he's okay. So let's get this out of the way now.
Yes.
Like it's ESPN
I know.
and it's First Take. So he's paid to be contrarian, and he's paid to say some stuff that might be a little bit off the cuff.
Look, I
You're
get,
you're worth you're worth whatever a team is willing to pay you.
but
So you can sit there and say he's not worth it.
he basically said what I said. I don't think Brandon Ayuk is worth 30 plus million either. He's not the Justin Jefferson. He's not the God. I haven't seen it. Like Jamar Chase has multiple years of having a great season and stuff like that. I've only seen maybe one or two from Ayuk.
Okay, but he's not asked to be that.
I get
He's
that,
not asked to.
but he's asking for that.
Okay, but this is the thing. You can't like if I'm Ayuk, I'm telling the team, I don't care that you don't feature me like that. That's your fault. Like if you decide that you're going to feature Debo and CMC and Kittle, and you're just going to leave me as the security as Purdy's security blanket, that's on you. Like that, not to say that doesn't say that I can't be that guy. You're not giving me the opportunity to be that guy. So if I'm Brandon Ayuk, I would be like, I can do all of those things, and we won't know. And honestly, we won't know if he can play against double coverage or being bracketed because we don't ever get a chance to see it because the 49ers have 20 million weapons.
How do we know? How do we know he's gonna look like how he looked like this past season after he does get paid the money that he wants?
We don't. Did Debo? No, he didn't. Right?
Exactly my point.
Did Bosa? No, but it was more because they weren't.
He did after a while.
They weren't in shape. Debo wasn't in shape, and he admitted he wasn't in shape. Bosa, same thing. He wasn't in shape.
To me personally, because I don't think it's about the fucking money at all. I think I don't get what the fuck he wants, to be honest. Because if it was about the money, he would have went to the fucking Patriots.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's about the money per se. Brandon wants it all. Brandon wants, like in my opinion, from what I'm looking at, he wants it all. He wants the money. He wants to be in this locker room. He wants to play for this team. Yeah. He wants it all. And and most of the time you can't have it all.
Nope.
There's just not a lot of situations that you can point to that say, well, this guy got it all. And we'll see if it works. But from what – yeah, go for it.
I'm going to share this with you real quick, and I want to get your take from it, okay?
Okay.
It's about what we're talking about. Let me see. Where is it at? I'm going to share the screen right now. Give me a sec. Come on, man. It's about, I know you probably already know, but it's about what Steve Young said.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to play it real quick and then just get your take from it, and even the chat could fucking what do you call it? Give their thoughts on it as well. Let me know when you have it up.
I got it.
I was going to set.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Nick Bosa was going to set the market. Trent's going to set the market. You kind of get it in a way. It's a bummer. Like, I wish that Trent would have done this earlier, or the 49ers, and I get all that. But Brandon, because of his youth and because he's not going to set the market, yet wants to set the market, says, I want to be traded. And then goes through this, I don't know how to put it, but it was like, bro, like, if you want to tear up the contract and do something big, then you might want to pick, you might want to go the fifth year and go prove it out, like, to make sure that everybody's on board with you setting the market. Or if you're going to ask to be traded, then when they make a trade that works for them, you got to say you're up for it. You don't say, oh, no, that doesn't work for me. Because then it was like, well, what do you want? And so there's been a back and forth that's been very, I don't know. They can get mended. It's not like they're like broken relationships, but it's stretched. It's strained. And I think at the end of the day, Brandon's now sitting in front of a contract that's probably 49ers have stretched as much as they possibly can. They don't want to set the market. They don't want to do it. They don't think it's the time.
Thoughts?
So I think that Steve Young is far removed. It's a different time. It's a different time than when Steve Young was in the league. They didn't have social media when Steve Young was in the league. They didn't have the ability to just. I mean, how many guys did you see asking for trades back then? Not a lot. It didn't happen often. Honestly, they were new to free agency when Steve was in the league. So when you look at that, these players, when I look at the situation, these players have to use every ounce of leverage that they have to get the most money that they can because these owners are not giving it away. And but they'll take it from you right quick. And they will cut you. That's why they put these void years on the backs of all the contracts. That's why they play with this funny money. And so it doesn't bother me in the least that Brandon is doing what he needs to do and using the leverage that he needs to use to get what he needs to get. Now, with that being said, I also see the 49ers side in the fact that this is a team that has a phenomenal roster. And they are paying top dollar for so many guys, more so than any other team in the league. They have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. Mm-hmm. They cannot continue to pay top dollar for every single player. It just can't. It's not going to work. For those people that say the cap isn't real, it absolutely is. Like they've got to pay Purdy next year. They just had a really good draft class this season.
Yeah, they did.
So guess who's going to have to get? I mean, they've got a Fungus contract coming up next year. They've got there's so many. There's constant contracts coming up for the 49ers because they do an excellent job.
We could also wait like 2 years for Purdy's contract. Technically,
I mean, yeah, but they're not going to do that.
I'm just saying that.
Do that. But they're not going to do that. Because that's your quarterback. The quarterback situation, unless you really don't respect them and think that you can play games like the Cowboys are doing with Dak, you're not going to do that to the guy that you consider to be the franchise quarterback. You're just not.
Yeah.
Now, but I see both sides. I see both sides, and I think both sides are doing this the wrong way. They're doing it. They're going about it the wrong way. This should have never become public, and it should have been done out of respect. It should have been on both sides. Both sides have leaked information, and Brandon probably didn't need to do all the extra stuff going on the pivot and like all that other stuff. But I understand. I understand he's trying to get as much money as he can because the team, I guarantee you, did the same thing that some of the people in the chatter just did. They don't think that he's worth $30 million because he's not a go-to guy in the 49ers offense. And I'm sure that's what the 49ers are telling him. Hey, we love you, but you're not worth $30 million to us. We've got other guys. Mm-hmm. And it sucks. It sucks because I think that this team I think he is a force on this offense, but it's just an unfortunate situation. I think in both sides. I think when you have a team like the 49ers do and all these great guys, it never fails. It never fails. There's always going to come to a point to where you can't pay everybody. So it just is what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What do you think of? I was glad to see.
Well, I mean,
I was glad to see Conley
Roster
made it.
set to 53.
Like,
Yeah, me
because
too.
I like Conley.
I had a
Conley
feeling
lot.
that he was going. He was going to.
Yeah, I like Conley a lot. I was glad he made it. There was another guy that I was happy made the roster. Uh, but with Elijah Mitchell being on IR, that leaves, and somebody brought it earlier on Twitter. That means Jordan Mason is for sure running back 2, and
Yep.
and hopefully he gets some more care. I think he's going to be a part of this offense.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you because I asked this yesterday on our show. I asked everybody this, and they all said no.
They said no. What?
We said okay. So check this out. So we saw Kubiak call the plays in the preseason. I asked them, do we see Kubiak call the plays in the regular season? Does Kyle give him that chance?
No.
Everybody
Come on. Yeah, no, come on. I am shocked that Kyle even gave away that amount of that his ego allowed him to let somebody else touch his offense. I'm shocked at that. Definitely not in the once the regular season starts. It is what it is. Like, but yeah, no, I can't see it. I cannot see it.
I just thought it was crazy, and it was a good question to bring up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, it is because I liked the fact that the way that they ran Jordan Mason. I actually liked what I saw from a running game standpoint. I wish Kyle would get back to more of the wide zone on a regular basis, and that's what it seemed like they were calling, just some basic stretch plays, and I think that they need to get back to that. But I think that we're going to see once the season starts, Kyle's going to go back to the razzle dazzle, and every single play is going to be 20 motions, and everything's going to be a trick play. And it's going to frustrate people, but they're going to put up a ton of points because they're going to go up against the bad teams and pad those stats. But yeah, we're going to have a good team for sure. As far as the linebackers go, this was an interesting one. Were you surprised that Flanagan Foles is still on the squad?
No, media is so fucking happy.
I don't understand it. I'll be honest. I know that he's a good locker room guy. I've heard the stories.
He's like, what's his name? Johnson. Right? It was Johnson. That kept coming back.
Oh, you're talking the Barnacle. I used to call him the Barnacle.
Yes. He just kept going back to the team.
Yeah.
Couldn't get rid of him whatsoever.
Yeah, I liked Curtis Robinson made it.
Yeah, he did.
But Flanagan Foles, I wanted him to get cut. That was why I thought that Jalen Graham should have had his spot. And people were asking if we thought that Flanagan Foles or Jalen Graham was going to make it. I saw the question on Twitter, and I just assumed Jalen Graham was going to make it.
You know why? It's because DFF is really good on special teams as well.
I understand, but it's a new day on special teams from a kick return standpoint. So
I know.
I don't know. I don't think you keep a guy he's a liability on defense. And if he ever has to play, it's not gonna be good. I wasn't really impressed with Devondre Campbell either, to be honest. But
really?
He's still here. Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with him.
I thought he was kind of up there with Robinson.
I like Robinson a little bit more. I think Robinson flies to the ball a little bit more than Devondre Campbell. I feel like Devondre Campbell is always in the area. He always gets there a little bit late, and so he's always there to clean up. So I think he gets credit for cleaning up a lot of stuff, rather than making tackles on his own. And maybe that's just semantics. Maybe that's just me not really he just seems a step slow to me compared to the other linebackers. And I don't know that for an extended amount of time he'd be solid in this defense. We'll see, but yeah, I
we'll
thought
see.
that was interesting.
I think they also kept him too because of the whole because Greenlaw's out and everything, so they probably just want to make sure they have enough players, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's one of those guys also that I think, like what we were talking about earlier, when they're ready to, when maybe they're going to bring in somebody, that when they're going to poach somebody from another team, some of these guys are not going to be here. They're going to get released.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to have to give up that roster spot. I'm trying to look here about any other ones that surprised me. Oh, Robert Beal making it. I thought that was interesting. Just because I didn't really see a ton out of Robert Beal. I still think he's developing. And so I
Beal's
was
hurt,
surprised that
though.
he made the 53. Huh?
He's hurt, isn't he?
Is he hurt again?
I think, yeah, he's hurt again.
Oh, okay.
He's on the IR.
Okay, well, there you go.
He still has yet to freaking play it down in the NFL.
Yeah, it's they got 49ers got, but Nick Sakel made it. And this will be the first year that I'm actually happy that Nick Sakel made it, because I wanted him to be gone.
Oh, speaking
But
of
I was, yeah.
What's that, media?
Oh, media
But
in the
yeah.
building?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, like I'm just seeing your message right now. But hey, yeah, we'll talk about it later. I can try.
I could have sworn he was. Let me see.
Oh yeah, media in the building.
Media said that he's not hurt. I could have sworn he was.
I didn't hear about him getting hurt, but
Somebody else that I'm thinking about.
I don't know.
Let me see. Let me see.
Let's see Jordan. Anybody else that's surprising? Yeah, because he's not on the reserve injured list.
No, he's not.
So yeah, I don't think he's hurt. He's just, yeah. I think they just maybe it's a Chris Kasurik reclamation project. Chris Kasurik likes him, and which if Chris Kasurik likes him, then I'm with it. I think that he's I do think he has athleticism, and he did show me a couple of times chasing plays from the backside. He obviously has athleticism. I just think he needs reps, and let's see it in the regular season. So maybe this will be his shot. But any other thoughts on the before we get out of here? Any other thoughts on the 53 man?
No, I think we are good. I'm excited. We're 2 weeks away.
Oh.
We're Brock Purdy days away until week 1, playing against the Jets. So I'm excited. It's ready for football to start, man.
Dog. I put it on Twitter today. I was like, can it just start today? I'm so sick and tired of. Honestly, I'm tired of Twitter.
Same.
It's been Twitter has been so boring this offseason for 49er fans. It's just been the same thing every single day of Ayuk this, Trent Williams that. Trade today. No, he's not getting traded. He doesn't agree on this. It's just one thing after another. It's just,
or even better. It's fuck you. Get rid of him. We don't want him no more.
Yeah, people just and then get and understand this. If Ayuk signed tomorrow, those same people that said all that stuff are going to be when he starts making plays. They're going to be like, "Oh, Ayuk, I told you the whole time." Like, it's just, it gets tiresome. Like, but before we get out of here, make sure you give the video a like. Make sure that you give us a subscribe to both channels. Make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when both of us go live. I have another show on this Thursday.
He got on.
You got any? No, I don't have anybody. It's just going to be me. People are going to be stuck with me this week. But we might. But this is something I'm trying to add in this year. Is we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of betting odds into the show, and so come along, and so you can hear some of the betting. And we're going to talk about some of the betting odds for some of the games throughout the week, like not just 49er games. So not that I'm a betting expert.
TL,
I'm going to give you guys some the odds so you can make your own decisions. Give you some stuff that I saw online that I'm interested in. So so be on the lookout for that. But Brandon, what do you got going on this week?
So
What up, TL?
So also, I got that's kind of perfect too because I got Sunday ticket this year as well. But probably next week, I think I am going to. I've talked to Zach. We're gonna have a whole ass hive gathering and show to preview Week 1 versus the Jets next week. So be on the lookout for that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell button to know when we go live. And yeah, I think that's it. So we're back here again next Tuesday.
Yep. So we will be back next Tuesday. Hopefully Beto's back gets better. Everybody give prayers up for Beto. And yeah, but until then, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate all the people in the chat. Like all you guys are family. Like appreciate everybody for coming through, getting busy in the chat, giving us things to think about. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. But until then, go Niners.